Daniel, the
Put another log in it.
Put a log in the fire. Close the flaps.
There, I was sitting on the floor like Mike was. I just fixed my chair.
Oh, thank God.
We're good.
I was like,
Good? All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome y'all to our October 26th CIP meeting. Would you please call the roll?
Roll call in attendance, we have Charlie Santiago, Caroline Muller, Mike Little, Jane LaRoche, Steve
Bogert.
Bogert, Mike Foote,
Here.
Tyler Carmichael, Kathy Manisi, and myself, Doug Felchat.
Okay. And so we have everybody in attendance. Minutes, let's see. Everybody get to go over the minutes of October 12th? Everybody happy with them? Any changes, addition, subtractions? There being none, like a motion to accept,
move, we accept the motion from our third CIP
Second.
meeting.
okay, that'd be the October 12th, let the records indicate. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, and now moving on to the minutes of October 19th. Any additions, subtractions? There being none, like to entertain a motion to accept as is.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. Second, got a second. All those in favor? Boom. You didn't raise your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I raised my
Okay.
hand.
I thought when you seconded it, you
And I
didn't get to
went
vote
like
too.
this,
but-
Well, you can vote against something just because you second something.
Gotcha.
Opens it up for discussion.
And I learn it.
There you go.
Something new every
So-
day.
Oh, yes,
Awesome.
we can discuss.
Okay, next on the minutes, or the meeting is the presentation by the police department.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Al Grayton, the captain with the police department in charge of the support division. The chief regrets that he can't be here tonight. He had another thing he had to take care of at home.
Well, we're glad to see you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Foote. It's good to be seen.
Not you.
Our projects for the upcoming year. First is our vehicles as usual. This year we're requesting 4. We usually request 3 a year so we can keep on a good replacement track. But last fiscal year we had a cruiser that was totaled in a crash. So
Oh.
we'd like to, I know. You wouldn't think that, officers are getting crashes, but they do every once in a while. So we're requesting 4 for this year so we can make up that deficit. And that cost includes light bars. Everything is electronic now, so you don't have strobes in your light bars. Everything has a brain in the back of the car that controls everything. So the cost associated with all those is not cheap. That includes new radios as well. As we request the portable radios every year so we can keep a good replacement plan, we do that with the cruisers as well. There's good 5 years out of a radio. About all you're gonna get, and those also, the radios themselves are approximately $6,500 just for the mobile radio. So that cost for those 4 cruisers, that includes replacement of all the equipment inside the cars and the cars themselves. The price of the cars went up last year $10,000. It's now over $40,000 for just the vehicle itself, basic stock. That's a state bid.
Now, do the laptops that are used is that part of the car or is that part of the person who's in the car?
That's equipment that is assigned in that car. So that's a replacement plan as well for those as well. And we use patrol PCs. We started using those probably, we did a CIP request for those, I think it was probably 8 years ago. So now we just replace them as we replace the cars as well. We have some that are still Windows 7s, which need to be going to at least Windows 10, if not Windows 11. So that includes replacement of those as well.
Yeah. There's been upgrades for communications over the years. How are you guys on that?
That's why we replaced the radios too, because now with our new system that we put in probably 5 years ago, that'll last 10 years. So I'm gonna need to start putting this on here 5 years out, start replacing some of that equipment. But that's why we're replacing the mobile radios as well, because now we have 2 channels. We have a regular channel and we have a secondary channel which we can encrypt. So if we have a situation like in Lewiston, so nobody will know what we're doing, even the bad guy. Because there was talk that he had a scanner or something, so he knew what was going on. But your phone right here, there's apps all over the place where you can get a scanner, police scanner, and you can listen to what's going on. So some of the other things that we do in the city as well, like drug investigations, things like that, we'll go to that encrypted channel because nobody can get that key. We're the only ones that have it in our radios, so they can't hear us. So we can do those drug investigations and things like that, and they don't know we're coming.
Which is a good thing.
Yes, yeah, in those situations, 'cause a lot of times it's, dangerous and volatile, and drugs usually go with guns and that type of stuff, yeah.
Yep.
So, thank you, yeah, so that'll be coming soon on the screen, as far as probably 5 years out. We'll need to start replacing pieces of that equipment, radio bases and stuff. Any other questions on the cruisers? Next on our list is a placeholder for police technology and training equipment. With anything else, it's like new laptops and computers. The world of technology for us changes every 6 months. This allows us to be able to institute some of those changes in a timely fashion rather than getting way behind the 8 ball. We are very progressive with all of our technology that we have, and we like to stay ahead of the curve and not get behind.
Do y'all take advantage of the training facility that the state has
Which one's that?
for the police officers?
Police
gun
standards and
range
training?
And the indoor shooting
We
gallery?
don't really use the indoor range down there. We use Guilford's.
Okay.
On our goals is to get our own range at some point. We're trying to work on a plan for that, and that would probably be on the grounds for the transfer station. There's a parcel of land out back there that we've looked at, and that might work. But again, that's something planning in the future again as well.
How many yards is that shot?
How many yards would it be?
Yeah,
We'd need to have
are you try working with rifle or just
Yep.
handgun?
No, we'd be working with rifles too, so it would be 100 yard. Yep. We can get 100 yards over the Guilford range when nobody else is around. We have to go way back from where the entrance is to the range itself. We can get 50 yards easily there, though.
Yeah, just realizing how quickly technology changes and seeing that you have that down as an urgent request. I didn't notice it says no as an urgent request. Is that because it's a placeholder?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have anything right at the moment that we always have things we'd like to spend it on, new technology, like we're trying to get a new key system, it's electronic key system, so believe it or not, people forget sometimes to put keys in their pockets and go home with them. Next guy comes in, goes to use his cruiser, he's like, where are the keys? We don't know who used it last, call him, So that would take care of that issue, electronically. You log it out of this box, so when it's not back, we know who has it, when it was taken out, and also helps to control some of the higher access keys as well.
How many cruisers do we have active?
Line cars,
Yeah.
I'd have to ask, I don't have my list with me.
If you don't know, that's fine.
I don't have it top of my head. I know we're up
Is it
to
20? Is it 18, 20?
we're up to license plate number 26, but those are not all full frontline cars.
Right.
That helps.
So there's
We can say
probably 8 that are
tag.
not frontline.
I'll say tag then.
Yep.
20, approximately.
There's 15. Sorry, there's 15 frontline. Those all have the video, the cameras in them, and the MDTs in them.
Are the new vehicles the same type as the ones you've been using?
Yes, years ago when they had the sedans and the SUVs, we tried the sedans, and if you were a 5-foot tall police officer and had a 5-foot tall criminal, the cars were perfect. But other than that, they weren't. So we transitioned to the SUVs, and that's what we've done now. The last body change that Ford made, I think was 2020. They're supposed to keep what's inside the same for 10 years. So when we buy a partition, a seat to go in the back, the plastic seats for the prisoners and stuff like that, so those could be transitioned again. When they do a full change, you have to buy everything brand new. Most of the partitions we can reuse them, and they have to get a kit just to transition to where everything bolts in.
So most of these SUVs now,
Yep, we have.
I mean, or whatever you
We have
call
two
those.
two
the
sedans,
boxes.
two sedans that are low profile, and then one stripped one that the CROs use. But everything else is in the SUVs.
And you said you're using a statewide contract, the
Yep.
DAS? Okay.
Yeah, we use the state contract for that.
Perfect. Awesome.
So the request for the technology and training equipment is 100,000. Next project we're requesting is the impound building, the enclosed impound building and equipment storage. So a lot of the crimes that we have involve either vehicles or equipment that we recover, construction equipment, that type of stuff. We have no place to store those, large enough area to store those inside. And sometimes these go for years before things get adjudicated in court. So if you have, say, a bunch of lawn equipment or construction equipment that's sitting outside in an open area, so all that stuff is getting snowed on, rained on, frozen, thawed, and by the time the case actually goes, usually the stuff is destroyed and it's no good to the owner anymore.
enough
Along with
land?
vehicle. Go ahead, sir.
Do you have enough land there to construct a big building to
We do.
accommodate all those vehicles?
Yep, we've scoped it out. It would go where our enclosed, our fenced-in impound area is right now. Because mostly a lot of the stuff in that is bicycles. Because now we're using the old skate park, using that for long-term storage of vehicles and evidence, stuff like that. So that area, we're thinking a 40 by 80 steel building, 14-foot high doors, to be able to put, half of it would be for evidence storage, those types of incidents, like cars that we use in evidence in crimes. We had the Sapri car in our impound for 3 years.
So it breaks down under,
Yeah, so evidence in the car, in that car it was blood. So now that evidence is sitting there in the sun, in the
Outside.
elements, and the evidence in the car is starting to break down. So those are things we want to try to keep from happening.
so this new building would be climate controlled
It would be heated, yes. Yeah, we wouldn't air
anyways,
condition.
at least
Yep. Yep, heated for the winter.
tolerably.
Right. Yeah, and then also, we'd also use that for storage of our expensive equipment that we have. The command vehicle that we purchased with grant funds, that would be stored in there. The emergency response trailer that we have, barricades, cones, signs, electronic signboards in there, that would be stored inside as well. Because in the wintertime, it's not a whole lot of fun to stand on top of a 13-foot tall truck and shovel the snow off. We did that a few times last year, because as everybody knows, there's a law that you can't drive around with ice and snow on your roof. So if we had to deploy that, that would, constitute us breaking law and could damage somebody's vehicle or injure somebody as well. We also have 5 variable message boards. 3 of those are radar boards. Again, those were grant funded.
Those are radar boards without taking any, information like license plates?
Yep, no, we do not read license plates. It reads speed and speed only. That's all they do. We're not allowed, well, by state law, we can have LPR, license plate readers, but any of that information gathered when that picture is taken has to disappear in 3 minutes.
Oh,
So they wouldn't do us any good to have license plate readers.
Yeah, the state frowns on
I have.
I know.
The
It's
state-
the
I
I just have to
libertarians.
keep writing it all
Damn
down.
that. Beverly
libertarians.
frowns on that.
I have
So-
just
You didn't
one
hear
more
me.
question.
Yep.
By looking at everything here, what is number 1 on your wish list? I think I think I know which one it is, but,
Vehicle.
Something in order? No.
no, I think it's the building.
Are these in
The one
order
that's
as you,
urgent.
what you want, or no?
They're not necessarily in order, no.
No.
Not in order of priority. The building we've had on here for
Few years.
2 years?
Two years,
Yep.
last year
And
was
with the
two.
building, we have gotten, grant funding from Senator Pappas. It's about a fifth of the price of this, so they were able to, I think it's 96,000 that they said that they would give us.
Other-
Off the 500,000?
Yes.
Are there any more grants out there that you could get for this?
No, the thing with buildings, it's really hard to get a grant. They don't wanna invest in a structure. They wanna invest in technology.
But you now have secure area around the old skate park and
Yep.
where you are because of funding that was given to,
Yep, for our
Yeah,
fence, the fence
fencing
project,
and-
we got the fence. I'm still working with the,
is there video on that also?
well, that's, the last one on the list is, police surveillance cameras, new cameras for around the buildings. Because most of them are the ones installed in 2003 when we got the building, when it was built. So those are outdated, really grainy pictures, hard to zoom in. You don't get a lot of good clarity with them. And everything's now is going to an IP-based camera. Right now is, it's a cable. It's analog. So, and to be able to record both analog and digitally, you have to have two separate DVRs to be able to do that. So it's not really cost effective to try to piecemeal it.
I do have one more question, sir, if I may.
If you insist.
I do. So, out here when I talk to Parks and Rec, and we look at our area, which is our, common building, and I read stuff that says they drop people off here from other places. Have we, and I asked Parks and Rec on this, so I'll ask for cameras also, about lighting upon this edge here where people gather.
Over here on the side of the
Yeah,
building?
along the edge. Is that too much for?
That's coming under a different area.
Yeah, that would be
There's
under somebody-
already
Different, like-
an RFP in works that would,
City.
it might have already been issued.
All right,
to
I just
light up the whole
asking.
river
That's fine.
walk
Oh,
That
area.
would be good.
So
Yep.
there,
Monitored.
because it's a safety issue.
Yep,
And,
sure
and what
is.
we have here is, we don't wanna put an officer in a situation that they have to
Well, I
walk
see
to
them
a
out
dark
there. I see the
area
officer out there
and something goes
dealing
sideways.
with it, you know?
Yep,
Yes, sir.
that's something we wish we had a quick and easy answer for, believe me.
So looking at this, again, these are placeholders, so you're putting it in for 500,000 for any year with some sort of inflation if we go out more years.
Right.
And obviously, I think you're probably lowballing
I
some of those
probably
numbers
am.
based on what
I
I'm seeing for
probably am.
inflation from year to year, but, okay, thank you very much.
Yep,
So
so
that's what
if,
these numbers are when they're going across.
Right.
It's not,
so we're
I need
requesting it this
500
year.
that year, 525 that year.
My first year, so
Cumulative.
I'm like
Yeah, no, not
3.375.
cumulative, so 500,000 what we're requesting for the building, if we don't get it,
You're
next year
great.
we'll request 525, the year after we'll do 550.
Thank
Just
you
because
so
of the inflation, yes. Yep, thank you.
I'll go back and see Congressman Pappas.
We had requested a lot more than that, but that's all we could get out of it. Yeah, yep, oh yeah, it is. Any other questions on the building? So the next would be portable radios. Again, like I said, we do those on a replacement plan for the portable radios. I don't have mine on today, but again, those are not cheap. They're about $3,800 for each portable
Per
radio.
your
for guys.
unit?
Yep, per unit.
Which is all, of course, tied to the same
Radio
digital
system.
node,
Yep, those are all have the encryption and the second channels in them, And that's just the radio, so we have the speaker mic, that's an additional cost. We have a holder, that's an additional cost. Charger is an additional cost. So you end up close to, $4,500 per radio.
Per unit.
Yep.
And how many police officers do we have?
We're allotted 49 right now, we're at about 44.
So you need
Yeah.
at least 60 radios.
So we do the replacement every year, we
Just a
request the
good guess
35.
on my part, 'cause you
To
gotta
just
have
replace
swap
them as we
outs
go
and-
because they only have a certain lifespan.
How,
They stop making
how
parts and
deep
they
are
stop.
we into our replacement mode
For the
for
portables,
these? Yeah.
we're good. That's why I request that every year. That 35 is every year that's requested. So we keep replacing a certain number of them every year.
That'll give you about 6 units.
Yep. So it keeps us on a good plan to replace them, and we don't end up with, like we used to be. We'd have to hand a radio to somebody as they're coming on to shift that they were taking from us. Now, hopefully, the battery would last long enough, and they were past their life of being no warranty left on them, and they weren't making parts for them anymore. So we want to make sure that we keep up with that. Again, it's a technology piece, but it's also a safety piece for the officers.
Has any thought been given I guess it's the state 911 or whatever building's gotta move from their home to a new home?
Yeah, I'm guessing they will. Yeah.
And is all these radios talk to each other? Because I'm on Public Works for the state,
Yep.
and I keep asking them the same questions. Are we gonna be at a point with, they're requesting radios and all
Yep.
of that also? And does that mean the prison people can talk to the state troopers, can talk to these groups and stuff?
Our radios have 256 channels programmed into them. So we have every state police channel, we have every
Okay.
department in the state we have on there.
So there's
The
cross
counties, yep,
communications.
yep, the
That's-
state
That's what I was trying to
prisons,
get
yep.
at.
Yeah, we have the interoperability, yes.
Yes.
And then there's also channels that are not normally used, that they're called VLAW and VTAC.
Mm-hmm.
Those, everybody has those, supposed to have those in their radios. They can switch to that if, say they had to come to Laconia for an incident, or Meredith, everybody can switch to VTAC 10, and they can all talk as well.
Without,
Jamming the system.
Right, without using Meredith PD's radio system, they'd be on V10.
Yep. That was the goal.
Oh.
You could literally talk on the radio anywhere in the state. That was the ultimate goal.
Yeah, after
Trying to
the
achieve.
Draga incident, yep.
You're never out of communication.
no, that's, well, it's important, really,
Yes.
you
In today's world,
Like that, yeah, look what
Oh,
happened
yeah.
last night.
reaction and communications.
So our next is our CAD and RMS software, which is our computer-aided dispatch and records management system. What we have now it's called IMC TriTech. We've had that since 1996. It's a computer program, and it's based in the server at our PD. A lot of the stuff now, most of the stuff now is cloud-based with the different companies that produce this stuff. So we've been looking at different vendors for the past year, and we got to narrow down who we'd like to go with. A lot of the vendors we've seen are from not this part of the country. They're more in the West and Midwest. Great looking products, but they've never done business here. So the intricacies of, why do you want to be able to print an evidence tag for a car? Because we take those as evidence. There's a lot of things they don't understand. So we're trying to find a company that's had some headway in New England, so they kind of know how we do things. Plus the J1 system, which is our PD talking to the court system, and DMV for anytime summonses now are all electronic. They get sent down to the state. All of our complaints and warrants, all electronic. They get sent to the state that way, to the courts. So they have to be able to have built this gateway between us and the state, and most of the companies haven't done that. So we don't want to be beta testers. We don't want to be the new kids on the block. Even though they're like, oh, well, we might be able to give you a discount for being the first person in New Hampshire to bring us in, and they're like, we don't really want to be that first person because there's a lot of growing pains with that.
Yeah.
So nobody in New Hampshire has a system that's cloud-based yet? or even in New England?
There are
A
some
little bit.
companies, there's CSI, which they're based out of New Jersey. Dover has them. UNH went to them.
Just not a
Grafton
product.
County.
Just not a product that you're comfortable with from what they have, or yet for our city?
For how it interfaces and how everything works. We're very close with UNH. We work with them a lot. They come up and work with us during Bike Week. So we've been down, we've seen the system in action, listened to what the dispatchers and the officers have to say, and it's not very good right yet. You know, they say they're working on it, but they still haven't had all their, they had IMC before, they don't have their records merged over into this new system yet, and they've been 2 years.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Is it gonna
Stuff.
be adaptable?
what do you mean by
The
that?
reason why I asked, I know it was just passed, and I think the state police or some portion of the state police is modifying that CAD data, some of that data, that's gonna come down, which is gonna, through a voluntary basis, allow someone to say they have issues, so that the officer coming in knows there might be an issue if it's a call to visit the home, that
Right.
there might be
There might
someone
be a
inside
flag,
who has.
something flagged for the
it-
address or for the person's
yeah,
name.
but it tells them what it is. It's a voluntary system, but we got the funding for it, and it's getting built at the state police level,
Yeah.
or whoever does their work for them, and it should
And I know
bleed
they
out.
just went to a new CAD and RMS, and I can't remember if it was CSI or if it's Central Square. So the company that owns IMC bought them up is Central Square. They're not going to improve it, but they're not gonna drop it.
Yeah,
So they want you to buy their Central Square suite, which is their cloud-based
yeah.
solution. I know Manchester went to that, or part of that. They didn't get the solution that they wanted, I guess. So we're waiting to see what is
But
gonna
at
work
least
best.
you're looking at it.
Yeah,
You're
we're not gonna
taking
go,
it
oh, let's see,
with
we're gonna buy
yeah.
you.
You're taking it with a cautious approach.
Yes, very cautious, because that's a large leap to take all of your records and CAD system and replace it. It was something that's gonna work, and the officers are gonna be able to use it, and the dispatchers are gonna know what to do with it.
And in that Manchester system, they're using a hybrid, part of it is one system that's server-based and part of it is cloud-based now?
I don't know, they may be.
I didn't know if that company that bought the other one, if they were maintaining both two separate systems now, which.
Right,
I imagine that wouldn't be
they'll
very
do
efficient.
fixes to IMC, but those are usually, that's your server, that's on our server.
Yeah.
That where it resides, it doesn't reside with them. The Central Square resides with them, it's all cloud-based. Yep. And
Yes,
there's-
sir.
Mr. Chair, I apologize, I have to leave the meeting at this point. I will
Sorry I
watch-
went so long, Charlie.
You didn't go long, we've had a lot of questions. I will watch the rest of this on YouTube though, and make sure I catch everything else, so I apologize again. Thank you very much for understanding.
Thanks,
And
Charlie.
Thank you, Captain.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for the coffee.
Bye, Charlie. I'll miss you.
So as you can see, that is not a cheap price on that. And where it's cloud-based, it's gonna be a yearly fee after that. We haven't gotten that down deep into any negotiations with anybody, because we haven't said there's one that
Right.
there is one company that we like, but they've never done business in New Hampshire. We really like them. Everything about their product looks really good. But again, they haven't done business in New Hampshire, so we're not so sure we wanna jump on board with that. But this is something that needs to be done within the next couple of years, and a lot of these companies, their implementation time is 18 to 24 months. So once you sign on the line with them, then they go, okay, we're gonna come in and we're gonna see what you want built, how you want it built. They'll build it, and then they'll start building it up, and it's 18 to 24 months before it's ready to go.
Now, do y'all have your own infrastructure, computer infrastructure?
Yep, we do.
And is that capable of,
Our
it only has a certain amount of life to it.
Right,
And
that last
where
year-
I guess is the question is, on its curve of life,
that is getting replaced this year.
okay.
To to the tune of $116,000. And that was it was either out of CIP or ARPA funds from last year.
Was
got
that
approved.
hardware or software?
Hardware.
Hardware.
Yeah.
That seems to be, the county had the same issue there, blades and whatnot are
Yeah.
old. and
We have
passed
a
the
Dell.
security change and.
A Dell system, and you
all, everybody's
pull the
going through
blades in and
same
out,
thing.
and, oh, it's too old now, so,
Yeah,
yep.
good. So our infrastructure will accommodate any
Yes,
of
it will.
the
Yep.
new software
Brand new this year.
and stuff. Cool.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions on the CAD RMS system?
Very informative.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yeah, we've seen, I think, 6 vendors so far. So now we gotta try to say these are the ones we really like and make them do us another demo, get more people involved in it, and then, see what they have for hard pricing. The last thing on the list is the surveillance cameras that we were talking about, Mike.
Alright.
Those are, for around the PD. Again, the cameras, most of the cameras that are there were installed in 2003 when we took the building after it was built. So those do need to be replaced.
And that's not just cameras, that's the associated hardware internally,
Yep.
Hopefully, this new hardware they're just buying is gonna accommodate the ability to use these.
That'll be a separate system. So like a lot of the city cameras are on what's called Milestone. That's a server, and a software platform. So from last year, we had requested cameras and a recorder. So that will be that came out of ARPA funds. So we're still getting to the point where we're gonna hopefully be purchasing Milestone soon, and that'll be able to take in those new cameras. But until we get all the analog cameras gone, we have to buy extra hardware to be able to take that analog signal, convert it to a digital signal to go into the digital server.
But with the current system, you as a captain can on your phone go, or on your laptop from your cruiser go, what's going on at the station and pull
Nope,
up the
not
station.
those ones. Nope.
But with a new video system.
Should be able to with the IP
You
based,
should be able
yes.
to remotely from your cruiser.
Yep.
If something happens at the police station.
Yes,
Y'all
Or-
can go on there and see what's going on before you get there.
yes,
And that would be the whole point of a
Yep.
compute,
of a cloud-based,
cloud-based.
yep,
Or if we were adding cameras to the city, that would be the type you'd wanna use, so you get a call, you can remotely go somewhere and
Yep.
and turn it up like on City
Or-
Hall, showing the parking lot, cause you got a
exactly,
call
and
for
that's,
something,
and
boom.
I know City Hall is on it, the parking garage is on it, the schools are on Milestone. So that would, and part of that is we wanna be able to, in the case of an emergency only access cameras in the school.
Right.
That'll be an MOU that the chief
Right.
does with the superintendent. And we also, and that'll go into, we got a grant from Shaheen's office for $200,000 for our video, real-time crime scene wall in dispatch. So that'll be a full wall of video, and all of the cameras can feed into that.
Good.
So the dispatch would be able to pull up a camera immediately and be able to tell us where the threat was, if need be.
Now, would you say this is a pretty high priority? Because as somebody who went from an analog system to digitals and now 4K and all that.
Yeah.
Analog signals are pretty dirty, so.
Yes, they are, yep.
So this is pretty high priority
Yep.
item for you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you very much, yeah.
And we're also on that same line in that we didn't put the request in for this, because we didn't have it in time, but we're also looking to upgrade the lobby of the PD. I don't know if you recently know that we had somebody actually break through the door of the PD to get into the lobby during the middle of the night. So we want to be replacing those doors with stronger, plus with bullet-resistant glass. Because as you know, anybody could just walk into the lobby of the PD, go blow through the glass and walk in. So that's what we're working on that as well. That didn't make it into here, but
towers on the side.
turrets,
Turrets and towers, really.
remote control turrets, Mr. Foot.
I would have thought that
We
that
can
glass
get
was
those
already
fancy
full
lasers,
of
all for it.
and that way they're silent.
I know, oh,
They couldn't afford what they built?
Friday.
Yeah, I would imagine, cause they stuck them to $3 million and that was it, for the whole building. So, yeah, that was something,
Really?
the glass for the dispatch window is bulletproof.
Okay.
And that wall has, half-inch steel in it. But
I
where the
really
records-
I
where the record
really
sits-
never wanted to come in and, breach your front yard.
You wanna breach the front yard?
You breach your front yard, breach your lobby, really, I find it quite beyond me why one would go down and stir up the hornet's nest.
Not
Well,
once,
they're
but
not
twice.
meant to. They-
Right.
that's the
And I mean, I don't know if anybody saw, I think it was in Connecticut, I can't remember what police department, but a woman walked in
Oh, yeah.
with a handgun and just
Oh, yeah.
started shooting. Luckily, everything they had was bullet resistant, but she just started popping around
Just,
off
it's
inside
just
there.
beyond me, really, actually.
Beyond me too, I don't,
Now,
but
Kat-
that's something that we need to think about there because none of that, those double doors and the glass on either side of them, as you look straight in the lobby, that's all just plain glass.
Now Kathy, is that something we would consider on this CIP? Now that's been presented, or no? So he's asking about the lobby upgrade?
No, I was saying that
Just
we're,
mentioning it.
we're,
That's what's on the
we're
sheet.
looking
It's
into
just
that,
in
yeah.
discussion of
Yeah.
what
Excellent, thank
may
you.
possibly be, looked for later.
In today's world, I'm sad to say,
I have
true.
a question not related to any of this. Are you still doing Laconia Police Academy?
Yes, we are. Yep.
If any of you have not done the Laconia Police Academy, it's awesome, and it really opens your eyes as to what's going on
I was
with
in
the
the
police
first
department.
class.
Yes, you are.
And you can
Yep.
go for a ride-along, and you can see what's needed in the cruisers.
It was incredible.
I mean, the ride-along
Yeah,
is
my stepson
incredible.
did a few
And,
ride-
and the
Any
whole,
time I rid it
the whole
along,
course
it
is
was
great.
He was in the back seat, Mike.
Believe it or not, I used to ride with I've rode with the Miramar Police Department, the Miami-Dade Police Department, the Hialeah Police Department.
It's amazing.
And I'd only ride with them on a Friday night of a holiday weekend.
Oh, geez.
when it
That's
was
when it's
a
fun.
payday.
That's when it's
That's
fun.
what you want.
I
Yep.
rode on, it was Pumpkin Fest when I was doing the ride-along.
So,
And there weren't many cars left because most of the police were downtown. It
It's
was-
quite an experience
it
when you're in
really-
Hialeah, Florida,
when she
Yeah.
stepped on
in
the
a cruiser
gas
on a
and
Friday
started-
night, after
No.
payday.
no,
After the first of the month.
no. I've been a sailor, and I already got it.
Any other questions?
Now,
guess
I
we're
do
done.
appreciate
you so
your informative presentation. Thank you
Anytime, thank you
for
for
your
listening, thanks for the
tolerance
questions.
and patience.
Yep, thank you for the time.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
Thank you again
Now-
very much.
Next is, give a second, and then we'll go to public input. This is where if anybody from the public wishes to speak their mind about the positive presentations that were presented to us over the last couple of weeks, please come forward, introduce yourself for the record, and tell us all about it.
Mrs. Foot is being quiet.
Well, you gotta get up. You gotta.
And introduce yourself.
And introduce yourself.
My name is Linda Pilliard. I live at 222 Roller Coaster Road. And I just want to thank the hard work you guys put in for this, all of this. It's a lot of thinking. And it's also very daunting because of the numbers. But it's a thriving town, and go for it. I wanted to just thank all of you for the consideration for the Public Works for the bridge on Hilliard Road. It's very important to Mike and I. And so we think if you could put that one way, wow, that would be really good. I think it's happening anyway, but thank you anyway, and then carry on.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you for coming tonight.
You're
and
welcome.
She was here last also.
She's somebody's driver.
Oh.
No, well, we also went out to dinner, so that was nice, date night. So it was fun.
See
And
you
thank you
guys
again
get
for all
date
your
night.
hard work, everybody.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
and
Thank
good
you.
Brave for joining the group.
Thanks.
What a date.
So, anybody else from the public wish to speak?
can have
I
these,
feel like I'm at a zoning board meeting.
we can have these,
That's what he
I know,
does.
right?
did.
Let the record indicate at, at 7:10, we, closed public hearing. And next would be other business. Anybody got any other business?
So all of these, and I'm just asking right here, now that we've taken our input from the public, we've had all the presentations, you would expect to have all the input put in within
Next Thursday?
24 hours, or?
Jeez, no. I gotta go
Way to
work
put all that
tomorrow.
work on us.
System for
No,
all.
I am asking.
Mike,
Actually, that,
For you, 24 hours.
Perfect, perfect.
November 2nd
November
is the
2nd.
submission date for your rankings. So you all have the Excel spreadsheet that I emailed to you.
Okay.
The scoring criteria was in the initial packet that I sent out to you. So you just rank, you're gonna develop a score for each of these. You're not gonna rank them 1 through whatever. You're gonna develop a score for each of the items on these 2 sheets. Enterprise funds are obviously the fewest. These will come out of the non-enterprise, so there are different grant programs, general fund, things of that nature. So you develop your score for each of them, and then I will take your scores, combine them, and divide it by 10 to come up with an average score for each of these items. And then once I have an average score for each of those items, then I can rank them 1 through whatever number it is.
So our next
And then we'll get
meeting,
together to discuss the rankings on November 9th.
Right.
That will be the next committee meeting.
2 days after the voting.
Yep.
I'll be toast.
November 2nd,
No-
that's when it's due to you.
That's when it's
November
due to
9th.
me, and
Our
that
next
gives me a
in-person
week
meeting is the
We have
9th.
2 weeks
to get everything
before next meeting.
Cool beans.
tallied. And then December 5th is when it gets presented to the planning board. The planning board will accept it, and they will pass it on to city council. And then it'll be done till next year.
Excellent.
I just want to say, with fresh faces, and this is straight up, I really appreciate the input from fresh faces
Thank you.
as being a part of these things. That's real.
And just last question, submission to you, email, or do we drop them off, or does it matter?
I prefer email
Yeah, I just,
if you're doing it in the spreadsheet.
totally fine, I prefer email too, I just didn't know
Yeah,
if you had
I'd
to have a
rather- if you're
physical
gonna-
copy.
If you're gonna use the spreadsheet that I sent to you, then please, return it by email. The 2 committee members that wanna do it manually can just drop it off, I think. Would that be your preferred way?
Who, me?
Yes.
You're looking at me funny.
Well, no, you would-
I like the whole thing about doing it. I've been through this process for a while.
and I'm just
And
asking
I
how you
just, I
prefer it
like
anyway.
the ability to be able to give your input digitally,
Okay,
and I have full
Perfect.
faith.
So she was just questioning, are you gonna hand drop it off, or are you gonna email it?
are you gonna use the spreadsheet and you
Yeah.
just, so you just wanted that as a worksheet as you're going through it?
Right.
Okay, perfect. So Charlie's the only one that's gonna do it manually, and he'll be dropping it off.
He's going to write his out on a
We get
stone
that.
tablet. He's going to carry it over his shoulder.
Vote with no ID. He never has an ID when he comes into Ward 3 to vote.
That's a good one.
Well, you should know who he is.
That's what he says.
I know it.
So anything else?
He never brings an ID.
Motion to adjourn.
Funny.
Second?
Second.
Yep. It's done.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
friends.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
7:14.
See you all in a couple weeks.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, Charlie's funny on voting day. It just comes in and